All right, here we go. We are live once again. It's Sunday, and that means it is time for a tie of the week. I love doing this every Sunday. It's a lot of fun. It's something to do. It's something different. There's a lot of videos out there, but as far as I know, I'm pretty much the only one that comes up here live. So if you know of somebody else that does a live video stream on YouTube here for fly tying, let me know. I'd love to check them out. So anyways, we're getting things going. I'm looking for my copy and paste and do all the pre-show controls, but we will get things rolling here. There we go. And that setting is saved. We'll make sure the mute or the sound is turned down. Oh, we gotta stay. Make sure all edits and changes have been saved. Alright, let's check this out. We'll find our copy and paste and share button, and we'll get the word out. The word is out. We are streaming live. All right. We'll get up here. And it's interesting because there's so many different venues of social media, and I try to get it across the board because I just like sharing. Bam. Whoop. So how is everybody's day doing? I have had a great week. I got to do some fishing and I got to do some catching. Spent some time, let's see, since last week I've been on the Sauk River, fished that behind the VA hospital here in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and I also went out yesterday with my fly fishing club, the St. Cloud Fly Anglers, and we did a float trip down the Mississippi for a little while. We did the Beaver Islands. It was a lot of fun. Nothing super monstrous on the end of my line. My partner Claude, he caught a couple of big ones right away, and I got a couple of decent sized smallmouth towards the end. Got them both on the glow-in-the-dark Clouser minnow. If you'd like to learn more about the glow-in-the-dark Clouser minnow, you'll have to just check They All Tied Up. I have it both as a step-by-step and a fast-forward video. So check that out. It's also, I put everything on playlist, so if you haven't got into YouTube too much yet, check out the playlist. When I post my videos, I feel obligated to help sort them all out as I publish them, because otherwise it would just be a big hot mess. So you tell me, it's under the streamers. So check it out. The glow-in-the-dark Clouser minnow. Okay, all of that, copying and pasting, getting the word out. Do me a favor, everybody, if you're watching right now, hit that share button. That's the biggest compliment I can receive. And I'll get my chat turned on and visual. All right, Richard Husingfeld has joined in, and he's eating some Angelo's pizza and some Bell's Amber Ale hot dog. That's some pretty good pizza. That is pretty darn good pizza, and that is some outstanding beer. Happy Father's Day, Dad. Happy Father's Day. Without you, I'm just a dream. So special Happy Father's Day to my dad there, Richard Husingfeld, and all the other dads out there. Is the category I put myself. I'm a fur dad. No kids, but I got a couple of cats that depend on me to feed and water them. Tonight's beverage of choice is the Lost Trout Brown Ale. So we'll be sipping that on the side. It was kind of funny. The other day I got this guy, or last night, he does this thing called the Tipsy Tide, and he gets drunk. Drunk. A little more than tipsy, and he ties flies on YouTube. Check him out, I Fly Montana or something like that. All right, we got the PA Fly Fisher in the house. Hello and welcome. So today I am continuing part of a video series, and in this video series, it all started with a book. A gentleman I have been more or less a pen pal with from Norway sent me a book, and it's all in Norwegian, which is pretty exciting when you're trying to learn the patterns. And anyways, so look out. The book it translates to, I believe, the Fly Pattern Encyclopedia. It's a great book, and what's beautiful about it is all the fly patterns inside are laid out alphabetically. And what I did is I asked my lovely wife, I said, go ahead and pick one out from the letter C. So tonight we will be tying the Cardinal. We'll see if I can get there we go. That is the Cardinal. There we go, we lost the background. The backdrop. Anyway, so we're going to tie this on a size 10. It's a 4X long. It's a must-add. It's an old one. 79580. It's a streamer hook, I believe. So we'll get that in the vise. All right, Jimmy's in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Happy Father's Day to you, my friend. All right. One thing we do need to get going a little bit more is some proper lighting. All right, thread. I'm just going to start this off with, I don't know, it's mystery sized black, appears to be waxed thread. And I'm going to start my thread right where I want my head to start. I'm going to take my thread and work it back. Forgot to say it. And like all good flies, it begins with a single wrap of thread. Trying to locate my proper scissors. The good Dr. Slicks. Nothing like the good doctor can't cure. All right, so I'm going to take my thread all the way back to the bend of the hook. Here we go. Rob, welcome, welcome, welcome. I have your package ready to go, containing 20 size 20 Patriot parachutes. All right, so the tail on our Cardinal is going to be a red hackle fibers. And it's really simple. I'm just going to take it's a size 10 hook. What did I say, size 10? Yeah. size 10 hook. So you can grab a fairly decent sized chunk of the fibers. And we're going to measure that out. About a hook's length, maybe not too much longer. I've been quite the fan of spinning my thread counterclockwise. I think if you're not doing that on your bench when you're tying flies, try it. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It really helps. So we'll lock this all the way down. That's a good tail. How do you like it? How do you like it? Yes, and the little added bonus included in the swap, I threw in some stickers. American flag stickers. They say "United we stand." You know, it's, I don't know, we don't have time for political stuff and this and that. Ribbing on this one. It's a gold. It's a tinsel almost, but it's actually stamped. Let's see if we can't get in on it. That's the one. There we go. You can kind of see the little dimple action on there. You know, again, working with some mystery material. 14 veneer. I don't know. It's shiny. It works. It's the right size for this hook for a ribbing, and I like it because it lays down nice and flat. We got the 406 Flyboys in the house. Hiya, Steve. So once we get our ribbing on, we're going to just take our ribbing and we're going to take it all the way back, front to back. Nice and tight. Uh-oh. We got a major malfunction in the thread there. So at this point, like I tell the students at the VA on Wednesday nights, when your thread breaks or something like that, you just silently swear in your own mind, rethread your bobbin real quick, and carry on. I don't got time for all that business. All right, there we go. Where were we? We'll go back and forth just a little bit, just to make sure that's locked down. All right, as we were continuing on, working from the front to the rear, a little carefully locking down our metal gold tinsel right to the bend. All right, there we go. I need to get this out of the way. I don't know how these material clips are supposed to work. They bother me. There. Out of the way. All right. No, well, actually, Steve's 406 Flyboys are asking about the tipsy tying, and I do have one cracked, and you know, this will be my beer for the night. It's more to keep my whistle wet. All right, body material. The ribbing is on. We'll do some body material. This is a 4-strand silk floss. And we'll come underneath and up and around the shank of the hook. And we'll secure this down front to rear. I don't know, where did that broke right there at the tip. Maybe I have some old defective thread here. Because it wasn't anywhere near the tip of the hook. So again, we'll try this again. It always seems like when you have the camera on and you're going live, Murphy's Law likes to kick in. All right, we'll try this again. We'll take our silk floss. We'll lock this in up front here. And we'll carefully work our thread from front to rear. This will give us nice, even body. Boy, I think I might have to change this thread out. What do you guys think? This stuff just keeps breaking on me. It is some antique thread. We are working on a old antique pattern. So it's your classic streamer wet fly. All right, there we go. That fiasco has been completely averted. Oh my goodness. All right. Right about there. All right, we're going to palmer forward with our silk floss, building our body. And what I like about using the 4 strands of silk floss is it really starts to spread out and you get a nice even layering. One pass, it covers up all the under wraps of the tying thread, and it comes out nice and even. But with the silk floss, you really have to be mindful of that tip of that hook, and it does take a little extra to secure it down. But we'll keep it nice and even, taking our time. So yesterday, like I was saying, I caught a couple of bass on the glow-in-the-dark Clouser minnow. That's a lot of fun. You know, if you guys don't have one, you know, have one. What are you talking about, Aaron? A fly fishing club, an angling club, a group of men and women of common goals of fishing together and swapping stories and tying flies together. You gotta get into one of those. Find a club, and if you can't find a club, start a club. You know, I say it time and time again. You know, just if you can't find a hero, be the hero. All right, who do we got in the house now? We got Jimmy Roop in the house. Happy Father's Day to all the daddies and all the babies' daddies. All right, ribbing. We're gonna do a standard counter wrap. We'll get this nice open spiral working from the back to the front. And it's all about having it evenly spaced for a nice proper presentation. All right, just like that, we're at our thread. Take a couple of turns securing that nice and tight. Here we go. And you really have to take the extra 2 seconds to make sure your wraps are really tight up front, because when you go to do your locking wraps, it's very easy to get this first piece of ribbing misaligned, because we did pretty good on getting all those angles matched up. Donna, good evening. Hiya and hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How was your graduation party? I hope you had fun out there. Didn't seem like the weather was too bad. All right, just trim off our wire. And so, again, you know, these are my normal tying scissors. These are my good Dr. Slicks. And these are kind of my junk scissors. And if you can see, I took a black marker and I just kind of blacked out a section of it. So I know these are my old scissors compared to my new scissors. Camera doesn't pick it up very well, but you know, hoard your scissors. I mean, I got all these old pairs of scissors, and you know, save your good scissors for cutting fine stuff, and have a pair of junkers when you need to cut a metallic material. All right, so we got that going on. What shall we do next? We should do our hackle. Look at this wonderful bag. This is just a bag of small red hackle. All sorts of different little sizes. We're going to pick one out. Let's check this out. Let's check its size. All right, that's looking to be like a size 8, but that's okay because we want this to be a little oversized. Just out of habit, we're going to trim that off just because, even though we're not going to use that. We're going to tie this in by the tip because I want this to kind of act and react as a soft hackle. Let's see here. We got Donna. Oh yeah, you were at the baseball tournament. Yes. Hope you didn't get too much sun today. Well, good to hear. Second place. That's all right. All right. So we're gonna tie in this hackle right here. And if you notice, I have plenty of room towards the eye of the hook. So you know, it's don't crowd the eye. Don't do it, folks. Just don't do it. All right. Oh, a lot of wind. Yeah, it was windy today, Donna. That was for sure. All right. Let's go ahead and palmer this hackle forward. And I have, to me, I don't know, it's all relative, a considerable amount of a distance between where I tied in this hackle and where I'm going to finish this hackle. Because what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up wrapping back over it to get it to not come out like a dry fly up and puffy. I want it to fold back. So let's go ahead and give that a try. Here we go. And also, by doing it like this, by tying it in by the tip, I get the shorter fibers in the rear, and the longer fibers will be towards the eye, and that'll fold down real nice and beautiful. Because essentially I'm going to wrap back over this whole section with the thread, forcing it all to lay down, comply with the thread, or else. All right. That's good enough. That's a sizable amount of red hackle up front to give it some good action. You know, I don't care who you are. If you're the world's most high-speed fly tyer, don't break your hackle off if you don't have to. You paid good money for scissors. Use them. That's your pro tip of the day. If you paid for something, use it. All right. We'll fold all these fibers back. And we're going to push them all down. See how that kind of flared up? That's what I was looking for. All right. Now for the difficult part. This is to be 1,000% honest, which I like being with everybody. It's not my strong suit, but what I have here is a matched pair of, I want to say they're red duck feathers. Anyway, so what I'm doing is we're going to marry these. We're going to match them up, and we're going to have two wings hanging out together side by side. And I'll smooth it out, make sure all these fibers are nice and close together. So this is the far side. I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off, hold it, and I can slide the rest of this up and away. All right, I'm going to set this off to the side, oh so carefully. And I'm going to come over here and grab the other side and trim off the same amount. And you know, this is not museum quality operation. That's not what we're after here. What we're after are two feathers. That's pretty darn close. I mean, I might be a barbule off, but what's a few barbules between friends? All right, match up my tips. And this is going to extend just past that butt section. All right, Jimmy's back with his popcorn. Make your teeth go pop, pop, pop. All right, so let's go ahead and secure this down. Now the front end is not quite matched up, but the tips are, and that's what matters. Give that a nice squish, and I think I like that. Make sure it's positioned where you want it. Take a few wraps, inspect your work. Probably could have went a little thicker on those wings, but it is all good. All right, so once that's secured, we're going to go ahead and just trim off the butt sections of these wings. And I'm not going to try to be a superhero and clip it all off at once. We'll take our time. So after this fly, we'll take a quick pause for the cause. We'll talk about the giveaway here in a moment. We'll build our head up, and we'll talk about the numbers. It's very interesting watching the numbers kind of do their thing, coming and going. All right, there we go. And how are we going to finish this fly? We're going to finish it with an old 1, 2, 3 whip finish. There's a 1, there's a 2, and there's a 3. You know, it's interesting how this thread broke on me earlier. What was it, 2 or 3 different times? What I did not do was I did not look at the spool when that broke, because it didn't break off with the spool. It broke off there at the tip again. Who knows? It's a mystery, but we survived. All right, we're going to add a little bit of head cement on this. And for this, I'm just going to use some good old secret sauce, some insurance policy, some good old Sally Hansen's. And what I did is I went ahead and trimmed my brush. Trimmed it in half, just cut half the bristles right off. You know, it's a big enough head, I can just slop it on. I'm careful. especially with the bristles half cut off. It's really helps you to get in there. Otherwise, you know, you just take it and use your bodkin and bloop, do it that way. So let's get in for a close-up here. Here we go. So that is, the C is for Cardinal. Tie it on a size 10. It's a 4X long mustad. I love these old vintage hooks. You can't, you know, the fiber trapped in there, and I don't know, could be red bucktail. But there it is. How about it? How about it, folks? What do you say? What do you say? If you like the video, give it the thumbs up. Like the video. Hit that share button. That's the biggest solid kindness you can do. Hit that share button. St. Louis Cardinals, you know you are there in St. Louis. Right across the river. Did you ever get a chance to you fish the Mississippi at all there, Rob? How's the fishing out in your area? We live in the trout desert here in my area. It's so bad. This is from the local beer place. Look at that. Lost trout. The lost trout. I will read the passage on the back. The lost trout, it's a real problem in these parts. Legend has it that this species followed a plenty out back in the Brewery Creek, while others say the trout left town years ago. But where have all the trout gone? Maybe to all those fancy creeks in the city, or maybe the local fish fry. Or maybe, just maybe, they're living a life of crime out in the streets. Oh, boy. Oh. It would be really nice. There's a small town nearby called Luxembourg. And it's rumored they have some trout. And I'm looking for my giveaway graphic. It appears that gravity has taken over. Alright, so let's talk about the giveaway real quick. We'll talk about the giveaway. We'll talk about the numbers. By the numbers. Alright, so this is just our little pause for the cause to talk about the giveaway. We only have a few more weeks left. Just a few more weeks. Anyways, for this giveaway, you need to come back after this live stream has become a video. Leave a comment. One comment equals one entry. You get one comment per person per week, and you have to do it once it becomes a video. You got 1 week to leave that comment. After the week, the comment box, or the comments are open, but the names to go in the giveaway box are closed. So everybody has a 1 week window. The drawing is going to be July 2nd. And here we go. Those are all the entries so far. Every week I write down the names of who's left a comment. And here's my list of all the different flies that are going in this box. So in this box of flies that the winner will receive is a peacock stimulator, a mocha parachute, the golden half-inch worm, a microstone. You're going to get the Casting for Recovery Sandy's beetle, a foam popper, a blue streamer, a pinked out rubber monkey butt. A is for green apple, and C is for cardinal. How's that for some fun action in there? We got some big flies, we got some little flies, panfish, redfish, bluefish, greenfish, one fish. It's a lot of fun. We'll put the list up for the week, and Here we go. This first one, you know where it's going to go? It's going to go right here. It's going to hang right here. Ready to go in. There it is. That's the one. That's the red Cardinal that's going out. The Cardinal going out on the giveaway. Big shout out to my wife. She's the one that picked it out of the book. Kind of had her looking at the B's for me, but I had to veto her B section selection because I wanted to use the beaver hair and the deer hair for that beaver nymph. So let's go ahead and try and tie another one. What do you say? We'll do another one. All right, once again, these are on mustads. Out of the box here. Got a little magnet on the tip of this little brush. It works wonders for pulling out hooks. So this is a Mustad 79580. It's a 4X long, bronzed. It's got its bronze on. So we'll secure our hook in the vise. Get things ready. So who do we still have out there? Let's do a quick shout out check. Who do we have tuned in, tuned out? What's going on? I want a comment from everybody on where your next fishing place is going to be. I don't need your secret spot. You can generalize. But where are you going fishing? What is your next big trip? My next big one for me is coming up in July at the end, or the second week of July. Oh, I've got to secure the vise after spinning the stem around. Where are we going? Who's going fishing? Quit wishing and start fishing. So we got the 406 Flyboys. They're going to Rock Creek. Rob is going to Gatlinburg. Then a part of a Johnny Cash song. It was Gatlinburg, mid-July, something. I don't know. Anyways, we'll cast on our thread. We'll take it all the way to the rear. Into the rear with the gear. Right at the bend of the hook. Don't go too far into that bend. You don't want it. You don't want a sad looking tail. So for our tail, speaking of, let's get some red hackle. Let's get some red hackle out there. Separate these out. Line up your tips. And a quick strip off. It's usually all it takes. Measure out one hook's length or thereabouts. And secure our tail. We'll work our thread forward. We'll just bury all this down. I'm not going to bother cutting that off. Haha, maybe we will. Just doesn't want to cooperate. I want it to be nice and smooth. Pinch down on it a little harder. Here we go. So, relatively seamless transition. All right, let's get our gold ribbing. Wherever that went off to. My bench is in absolute disarray right now, like all good fly tires benches. All right, here we go. We got our gold ribbing. So get back here to the list. Jimmy's going to Lake City, and Jimmy Roop is going to the Little River, about 20 minutes from home. Donna's going to Pleasant Lake. And yeah, Dad and I we're going to Montana. Hitting the Madison. And speaking of which, speaking of the Madison River, the Sunday while I'm out on my trip, I'm hoping I can do my tie of the week live out in Montana. I'm not gonna say who I approached, but we might have a special location. If not, maybe a special guest. Otherwise, we'll have to improvise and find a bar with some Wi-Fi or something. Who knows? But we're gonna try to continue the tie of the week live, even while I'm out on the road. You know, if I can get signal and I can set up my Vice, we'll do something. How about that? That's for sure. Yeah, 406 Flyboys, we definitely need to swing through and hook up at one point. You know where we're staying. We're down there at down there by $3. Anyways, let's go ahead and get our body material on. Once again, this is a 4-strand silk floss. It's really difficult to work with if you don't have it running through a bobbin. All it takes is one of the 4 strands or half the strands to spin around, and you got 2 different lengths, and then they start lifting off of the spool at a different location. You have a couple down here and a couple up there, and it just becomes a tangled mess. So, you know, just like your fly line, you know, proper material, proper thread management, proper line management. All right, we'll wet that down a little bit. And we'll just come in and secure this down. Front to rear, front to rear. So Jimmy, I'm really digging, and Rob, I'm really digging on these Mr. Glass variations, which is ultimately a variation of a pattern called the Phantom of the Lake. It's from a Stillwater fishing book, so it surprises me none that you guys are landing some good crappie and stuff on there. Well, that's pretty cool, Steve. It's only an hour drive. It's only an hour drive. Well, it's 14 or so hours from my house, and my dad and the rest of the gang driving from Michigan have a whole nother 12 hours in the car before they even make it to St. Cloud. But it's worth it. The waters will be worth it. The experiences, the memories. And I have a lot of memories to remake. Last time I went, I was a cheapskate, and I had my camera on my pictures on my phone. I had it set to update to the cloud only when I connected to Wi-Fi. And after a nice long day out at Yellowstone National Park, catching Old Faithful at sunrise, all these epic selfies with my father at the big Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, or whatever you want to call it, the geysers, the this, the that, everything on my phone gone, just absolutely disappeared. But fortunately, I had my point and shoot camera, which was for all my riverside pictures. I didn't like to bring my smartphone with me near the water. So I did have my fish pictures, which was pretty cool. But I lost all the Yellowstone Park, and, you know, hey, but that's why I get to go back and we get to try it all again. Looking forward to hitting some of the waters. I really enjoyed Soda Butte Creek. That was just such a beautiful, beautiful area. All right, let's take our ribbing. We'll do our counter wraps, working them from the rear to the front now. Securing a little added security for that silk floss. Now, obviously, I just pulled this out of the book. I have no... Boy, this would be a really fun one to fish. I know that. This is going to be a fun one to fish. All right, we'll take our ribbing all the way forward. Here we go. Where we'll lock this off. Nice tight locking wraps. Really make sure that's secured. You don't want your ribbing to unrib. Don't want your ribbing to unrib, like the McRib. Trim that off. And there we go. All right, check your watches, folks. What time is it? What time is it? It's hackle time. We'll put on our red hackle up front. We'll pick out a medium to long. That'll work. So what I'm measuring out, what I'm looking at here is the relative length from the stem. And this, the longest fibers go about the length of the body. And that's about as far as I want it. Trim off our nub. And we're going to tie this in by the tip. There we go. Oh, I forgot to talk about the numbers. So one of the things I like to look at is the numbers, the analytical data, blah, blah, blah. So YouTube, we had a little bump in subscribership. We're up to 192. 192 subscribers here on YouTube. How about that? Are you one of them? Are you one of my subscribers? If you are, I thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Boy, this is some weak thread. I don't know about this stuff. I might have to, I don't know, give it away to somebody I don't like. I got a couple of people. Congratulations, you won a giveaway. Not. All right, we'll get this thread. Murphy's Law is in the house. This is going to fight me. This one is going to fight me, boys and girls. We'll get by. Eek. All right. The professor isn't playing anymore. Let's do this. You did not see that just happen. I did not just break that thread off. But we'll get the fly built. Come heck or high water. Gosh. All right, we'll palmer this forward. Because we're going to lay these fibers all down. It doesn't really, you do want the top forward. That way everything folds down nice and purdy style. All right, once that's up front, we'll secure this down. And trim off the stem, nice and close. Bye-bye. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and fold these down. Get them to kick back, lay back. Give ourselves room to tie in our wings. We got a couple crazy animals, couple wise guys hanging out up front. We'll have to evict them. You know, when I do a lot of trimming up front, and I'm near the thread, give your vise a spin if that's an option. If you have a rotary, You know, it's second nature to you. It should be second nature to you. I see a lot of people on. I don't get it. If I don't know if they just like the fancy vise because they think it's fancy, or what. But seeing people with rotary vices, hand over hand stuff that, in my opinion, should be just a couple cranks on the rotary and you're done with it. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. All right, let's get our wings on. These are matched, at least as close as I could get them. At least as far as a left and a right. That's the critical. And you know, if you don't know yet, if you haven't caught on, I got the long fibers going this way, and then I got the long fibers going this way. If they were not a matched set, they would be an identical set. So this would be, I don't know, you'd call it two lefts, because this would match up with this side, not this one. So continuing on, let's go ahead and, this is how we're going to do it. I always kind of lay the feathers down how I'm going to tie them in. We're going to try a little bit bigger on this one. Just a little bit bigger, a little couple more fibers in there, a little chunkier section. I don't know, call that the gap of the hook, maybe. I set this carefully down to the side, where we'll trim off our other side. This will be the near side. And right about there. You just have to commit to it. That's the thing. Commit it. All right, we're going to take these two sides. We'll match up the tips. Get them together. They're slightly different lengths, but with the tips being matched up, it's all good. We'll take those out. One thing I found too, I didn't mention on this first one, once you have it all together, give that big poof a squeeze. Compress those fibers down a little bit. Kind of deflates it. All right, here we go. This part's always nerve-wracking for me, to be perfectly honest. I'm not a super big fan of this style of wing. You know, sometimes it gives me a lot of difficulties, sometimes it doesn't, but I think that turned out all right. What do you think? What do you think? Trim this off. Nice and close. We'll get a nice taper to the head. Oh. That's just being a pain. There we go. There we go. All right, we'll build our head. Securing the rest of the wing material down, we'll get ourselves a nice tapered front end here. Build that up if need be. Excellent. So we'll do the old 1, 2, 3 whip finish. All right, now this is going to be the question right here. This is going to, call it fair, call it not fair, call your congressman, I don't care. For an extra entry right now, while we are live, whoever can tell me, the first person to tell me how I finished the B is for Beaver Nymph video. What was my last little saying? So first person to type in my closing line that's different. It's a little bit different than how I usually close it. Now everybody's going to bail and go watch the step-by-step video on the B is for Beaver Nymph. The Beaver Nymph. So, I don't know. You tell me. I think this one will work. You know, I'm not going to say I'm the best at these wings. That is for sure. But with practice, you know, everything else kind of comes naturally. And someday I'll get to the point where I start marrying the wings, taking the different colors and stacking them out. Those classic salmon fly patterns. That's some pretty beautiful work. Pretty beautiful work. All right, so I know there's a delay out there, so I'm gonna give it a few minutes for whoever's out there watching to pick up on how I finished my B is for Beaver. And no, it's not just a I'm a beaver, you're a beaver, we're a beaver all. Rob gets it. Rob gets it. I'm a beaver, you're a beaver, we're a beaver all. If you ever get in trouble, just give the beaver call. So, I don't know. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Yeah. C is for Cardinal. So we'll do the legit. We'll do the legit step-by-step video and fast forward. All right. So let's see here. So before I forget, we're going to write this down. And who did I say? Rob. Rob. If I'm going to write your name down, I got to spell it correctly, because that's only fair. K-Y-R-E-S. So we'll just call this the Beaver. Beaver question. Live. On 6/18. So there it is. Rob got the Beaver question. That's getting folded up. That's going in the bot right there. Right there in the middle. These will all get mixed up for the big drawing, but there you got it. There it is. In the giveaway box. Congratulations. Woo woo woo. Possibly win 12 flies. Different styles, different flavors. So, yeah. It's been a good week. Looking forward. It's going to be another good week. This Wednesday with Project Healing Waters, we are hitting the river. I believe we should have, I don't know. It really depends on the volunteers. So if you're a fly fisherman and you're in the St. Cloud area and you want to give back to the veterans, we're looking for volunteers. You know, it's kind of act as a guide, but you're not really a guide. You know, it's literally a matter of knowing slightly more than somebody who knows nothing. You know, I jumped in on it right away. First chance I could get to go out with another veteran as a volunteer, I did. And boy, you really pick up your game when you're really trying to get somebody else to catch a fish and you're standing there with them. You know, my hat's off to all the legit guides and guide services out there. It can be extremely stressful. You know, my first time out there, you know, it was on the Sauk River. And this guy, we get out there, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, maybe we're standing in the middle of the river at this point." And he says, "Aaron, maybe now is not a good time to tell you. I'm like, what? He says, I get really bad vertigo. And he looks down at the water, and he pulls a Lucille number 2 from Arrested Development and just kind of spins out of control. And the veterans, we wear life jackets just in case, because it's an extra special safety thing. Anyways, I'm grabbing him by his handle on his life jacket so he doesn't float all the way down the river. But so hats off to the guides and guide services. Hats off to the dads out there. Happy Father's Day. Dad, thank you for everything. I love you, dude. You're my A1. You're my dad. We love you. Oh, before I go too far, look at me. I just got the jibber jabbering. I forgot to add our little insurance policy on the head. A little bit of Sally Hansen's, a little bit of secret sauce. I love watching the new guys ask if it's the right thing to use, because it is. If you're any kind of self-respective fly tire and you don't have a bottle of secret sauce on your bench, boy, I tell you what, there's got to be something wrong with you. If I just called you out, well then, so be it. I'm sorry. So, yep. One last time, Happy Father's Day. Here's some Father's Day swag for my dad. A couple extra parachute Patriots to tag along to Montana. Size 20s. Size 20 Patriot parachutes. So we'll get those out. Get a couple more. Let's see, how many more hooks do I got out? I got 1, 2, 3. 3 more size 20 hooks for the Parachute Patriots. All right, that's enough jibber jabbering. We're done tying. Moving forward. All right, guys and girls, hit that share button. Don't forget to leave your comment to get that entry for the Tie of the Week giveaway. Yeah. Stay awesome out there. Happy tying, tight lines.